Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hello, and welcome to Depraved Indifference to Intelligent Life, my little vlog that I talk about things that I want to talk about, things that don't necessarily align with media, entertainment, and so on. And there's a topic that has cropped up rather recently, and I've been thinking about it since it has. I believe it's been about a week now, possibly less. It's an article. Yes, an article on a website called The Modern Man. I have it here because I want to refer to it. Um, and this article is how to talk to a woman who's wearing headphones. And now I first saw this. It hit my Twitter feed. Somebody had retweeted it, expressing their disdain for it, and I went to check it out because I like to check things out before I form an opinion. I like to experience them for myself. I don't jump on bandwagons, as it were, or follow along with the mob mentality. I like to make up my own mind. And this this article troubled me for what it was written. And as I said, it's how to talk to a woman who's wearing headphones on the Modern Man website. I've never been there before. I've never really heard of it. Um, and it's a dating advice thing uh, by a man by the name of Dan Bacon, I believe. Don't know him. Don't know anything about him. Now, I'm going to reference some of the things and read some of the things in this article to you, just to give you an idea. It talks about um, many women walking around playing with a smartphone, tablet device, often wearing headphones, listening to music. It says, yet that doesn't mean you can't talk to them. Of course, not all women are open to being approached because not all women are single and looking. However, if a woman wearing headphones is single and hoping to meet a boyfriend or even a new lover, she will usually be happy to take off her headphones to give you an opportunity to create a spark with her. Her taking off her headphones doesn't always mean that she's super interested and wants you to ask for her number or anything serious like that. Sometimes it's simply a cause of her being open to what you've got to say and then to see where it goes. Now, there's a lot of assumptions going on in this, and he's hedging his bets. He's saying sometimes it just means this. It doesn't always mean that. Sometimes uh, this, sometimes that. He's never coming right out and saying that it's not that way. Yet, to me, at least, the tone of this article, it so far, just in that little bit, he seems to be creating the implication that if women are single, then they will be open. And that is not always the case. Uh, Women who are open and who are looking will usually have their own methods of doing it. I don't I don't sit and believe the implication being stated here that just because a woman is single means they are looking, because they don't. Not all women who are single even want to have anyone in their life. There is such a thing as not being sexually active, not wanting to have anybody, not wanting to have a romantic relationship, a sexual relationship, any relationship. And so far, it seems to be implying that. Um, Approaching and talking to a woman who's wearing headphones, it gives a list of tips saying stand in front of her with 1 to 1.5 meters between you. Have a confident, easygoing smile and say, "Hi, how's it going?" to start a conversation with her. Most women are polite and friendly and will take off their headphones to talk to you at that point. So just start talking and have a conversation with her. Again, right there, implication, just in the way it is worded, saying that most women are polite and friendly and will take off their headphones to talk to you at that point. So if a woman doesn't take off her headphones, they're not polite and friendly. That's, again, not implicitly, like not explicitly stating it, but there's that implication in there, in the way it's written, the way it's being presented. Uh, if she hasn't looked at you or hasn't noticed you yet, simply get her attention with a wave of your hand. Wave your hand in her direct line of vision so she can see it. And say, hey, how's it going? She most likely won't hear you say those words if she's listening to music, but it's a way of showing her that you're trying to talk to her. Most likely take off headphones when you say, hey, how's it going? But if she doesn't, just smile and point to her headphones and confidently ask, can you take off your headphones a minute? As you pretend to be taking headphones off your head so she can fully understand what you mean. Then go ahead and have a conversation with her. It goes on. If the guy finds himself in a situation where a woman doesn't want to talk to him, he should just respect the woman's right to not want to talk to him. For example, he might say, okay, sorry to bother you, have a nice day, walk off and leave her be. However, I must point out here that the majority of women are polite and friendly and will happily talk to a confident, friendly guy if he walks up and starts a conversation. No. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. No. Um, Women, men, whatever race they are, doesn't matter. There are friendly and polite people. There are not friendly and polite people. There are many, many different stripes, many different colors, many different shades of gray, etc., etc. Whatever platitudes you want to apply to that. But you can't broadly label an entire gender as mostly being friendly and polite. I wouldn't do that to women. I wouldn't do that to men. I don't presuppose, I don't assume that they're going to be that way. I treat people with respect. I treat people with the same way that I would want them to treat me. I make up my opinions of people individually after I have experienced them, like I do with everything in my life. I don't assume something is going to be bad. I don't assume anybody's going to be polite to me, but that's not going to stop me from being polite to them. But just the way the phrasing is in this particular article, yes, he's added some stuff here since I last looked at it. Apparently, a lot of the controversy around this article has been due to people imagining a sleazy, creepy, or very assertive guy approaching a woman and harassing her. That is their issue for imagining that scenario, not mine. What I'm talking about here is two normal people talking to each other, having a friendly, easygoing conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I'll agree there. Two people having a conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing inherently wrong with going up and approaching a woman and trying to start a conversation. Whether she's wearing headphones, whether she's not, whether she's at a bar or not. Works the same way in reverse. If a woman wants to approach a guy, nothing wrong with going up and talking to them. I'm not saying that there is, because there isn't. But you can't assume certain things simply based off what you want it to be, what you want it to assume. I know reality is perception based, and a lot of people perceive reality differently. But not everybody is going to want to talk to everybody all the time or at all, which is fine. If people want to do that, that's fine. If people want to go out and have a social life, that's fine too. It's their choice. It's their choice. And yes, he's added some stuff since I've last looked at it. spark of attraction, exchanging phone numbers, going on a date, getting into a relationship. Again, and there's some other stuff in here. Common mistakes that guys make when approaching women who are wearing headphones. Approaching in a nervous manner. Giving up too easily. Not leading the conversation. Sticking to polite or reserved conversation. Not including any flirting. And so on. And some of that, if you're a guy that is confident and is very much the sort that leads in a conversation and wants to try that, wants to be that way when trying to talk to women, you do you. You do you. But don't be surprised that there are women out there that may not want it, that might want to lead the conversation themselves. Uh, it's just the way of the world. It's the way people are. And there's so much that when I read it, like I said, he's added some stuff in here that wasn't in here the last time I looked at this article. And it makes me wonder if some things have been changed because I didn't go and pick and copy the article. So some things may have been changed. It wouldn't surprise me. Because, yeah, some of it was it came across to me as being a little bit sketchy in how it came across. And he says that he's not trying to do that, which is fine. If that's not what he's trying to do, maybe it's that his perception of it isn't creepy, but other people, he has to understand, Mr. Bacon, if you're out there and even watching this, and I am not even remotely uh, egotistical enough to believe that you ever will, but if you do, there's a possibility what you think is normal behavior, other people may not. Other people may look at it and think to themselves, that's a little creepy, or that's a little sleazy. The way you're acting is a little bit this. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't seem right. See, that's the one thing that so many dating articles out there, and I have read a few in my time. I will admit, I have tried different ways to attempt to talk to the ladies. I'm not very good at it. I'm quite shy, um, and I'm horrendously bad at reading signals. Uh, so I am no expert, but I do know that people don't think the same way. Just because one woman thinks this way doesn't mean all women are going to think this way. Uh, just because a lot of women think this way doesn't mean all women are going to think this way. And you can't go into any sort of situation dealing with anybody thinking that they are going to be the same as this other person or this other group of people. You can't do that. It doesn't work. You need to take them as they are. And to be honest, the whole confidence thing, uh, I will say, full disclosure, I am not the most confident person when dealing with people. I tend to be very quiet, very reserved when dealing with anybody, men or women. Any new people that I meet, I'm very quiet, I'm very reserved. I watch, I observe them, I hang back. Uh, I don't often say a lot of things. And the reason that is because this is how I get to know people. It's how I get to know them by observing. And I don't I'm not comfortable putting myself out there uh, too early in dealing with other people, too early in a relationship uh, of any sort, whether it's friendship or otherwise. I don't like putting myself out there too much, so I tend to be very quiet and very reserved. People tend to think I'm standoffish a little bit or antisocial, and it's not the case. I'm definitely a very social person in my own way. Uh, but I don't think that everyone's going to be the same. I don't treat people as being, or assume that people are going to act the same way as somebody else has acted. I wait and see. I examine what evidence that I have, uh, probably a little bit more scientific than I should be, but that's just me. And I do that. I observe people. I like to people watch. I do it a fair bit, but I don't I don't think that the article, with some of the implications and some of the assumptions that are being made in this article, um, I don't think that it is entirely good advice. There are some advice. I apologize for my cat sitting there scratching at himself and ringing his bell and making noise while I'm trying to film. Um, but yes, I don't think that people should be believing everything about that particular article. I don't think it is entirely good advice overall. There's definitely some good advice. Being confident, definitely talking to people, starting up a conversation, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's clear that they don't want to be bothered, um, if a woman is wearing headphones and listening to music, and you go up and try to start a conversation, and they don't seem to want to make eye contact with you, uh, if they seem hesitant, then don't push it. Because there are people out there like myself that have anxiety issues, that don't like interacting with new people, don't like surprises, don't like being pounced upon. And you being confident and you forcing that issue on them is likely causing them some small measure of anxiety, some uh, possibly large measure of anxiety, depending on what their mental state is, how they react to new people. Uh, I know surprises can sometimes take me off guard. I know dealing with a lot of people in a big crowd uh, tends to wear me out mentally. Uh, I go to conventions every now and then, which is full of people, and I'm surrounded by crowds every day, but I already know going in what to expect, and I'm able to manage that. But by the end of the day, when I get home, I am exhausted, absolutely exhausted, and I just don't want to deal with people. Uh, there's there's lots of people out there like that, and the way the article is written, it doesn't take into account those type of people, those type of women. There's also the fact that there are a lot of women out there that are afraid of dealing with men, that are afraid that basically every every man out there is a possible predator. I know there are women out there that think that way. Um, it's a lot of the culture that we live in, that we've grown up in, that television has fostered. Um, a lot of the reactions to certain violent crimes that happen to women. Uh, there's one in particular that's making news right now, I believe, about the young swimmer. I completely forget his name now. I've only heard a little bit about it, but he attempted to rape a young woman and was caught and sentenced and is basically being let out early for good behavior or something. I'm not entirely sure. But the fact that some of the things being said about that and some of the things that have happened to men who have committed violent crimes against women that haven't really received any measure of justice simply because of how the victims are often treated. And women don't want to be treated that way. They don't want to go through that. So they've learned over the years to build up these defenses around them. And some of them are scared of it happening. Absolutely. I mean, it would be foolish to believe not. But the the whole thing is that the article is not tackling that. It's not even looking at that issue, not even looking at that problem. with it. So I don't know exactly how or if he should be dealing with that, because the way he wrote it, like the way it was phrased and some of those things, like I brought up, it's it's very it seems a little sketchy to me. When I first read it, it seemed sketchy, and it still seems sketchy now. And I don't like to think about those sorts of things. It preys on my mind. But I wasn't even sure I was going to do a video on this. I've already posted 3 videos already, which this one would have been one. But I've spent the day thinking about this, and I had to say something. I had to get it off my chest. So for those people out there that want to go talk to people, here's my tips on how to talk to basically anyone wearing anything. Uh, yeah, approach them, be respectful, be polite, be friendly. If it's obvious they don't want to talk to you, if they're seemingly distracted, uh, if they want to get back to what they're doing, let them. If they're actually interested and seem to want to continue the conversation, do so. Otherwise, uh, leave them be. If somebody is obviously listening to headphones or listening to music and trying not to interact with anyone around them, it's probably likely that they don't want to be interacted with, that they don't want someone to talk to them. I mean, I wear headphones. I don't make eye contact with people on the rare time that I use public transit. Um, when I'm at work, I'm often reading a book because I want to read my book. I don't want to engage in conversation with somebody. If I do, and somebody's talking to me, I will talk to them. But usually I go right back to my book because that's what I want to do. So just be respectful, be polite, uh, be friendly. If you want to be confident, be confident. But I don't see the real need to be confident. Uh, some women don't like that. It's what, you don't think that some women don't like uh, men who aren't 100% confident 100% of the time? You'd be foolish to think that. It's simply the law of averages. Not everybody is going to want the same thing. And to assume that everybody wants the same thing is just stupid, in my opinion. So that's pretty much everything that I'm going to be saying about this, eh, Butcher? Yeah. So yes, I will leave this video here. As always, if you like what I'm doing, please give that like button a tap. Give that subscribe button a tap as well, if you haven't already, so you can be kept apprised of when I do new videos. I usually try to get at least 1 video out a week, but I tend to be pretty good on average of getting a few more than just one. Uh, and throw a comment in the comment section. If you've read this article, what do you think about it? Um, but please keep the comments civil, people. There's no need to get into all kinds of big arguments and anger and rage. We don't need that. I don't want that on my channel. If you want to talk about it, talk about it. But remember my tips. Be respectful. Be polite. Be friendly. Even if you disagree, you can agree to disagree. There can be friendly, civil discussion about things. It doesn't have to all be the same. So, yes, do all that. And I will see you next time I have something to talk about. Take care.